then taking a look at State's Exhibit 36. All right. Does State's Exhibit 36 correspond to what I'm handing you as State's Exhibit 343? Please take a look at that.
Yes.
And then State's Exhibit 37, does that correspond to what is actually in State's 342?
Yes, it does.
Now, when we're looking at State's Exhibit 38, what is the jury looking at here in State's Exhibit 38?
You're looking at a total body x-ray taken on a machine known as the Lodox. You see shotgun pellets on the lower portion of the chest. That's the right lateral chest, or the right side of the chest. You also see shotgun pellets in the right chest and left chest and shoulder injury, shoulder area. There is a fracture of the humerus, and there's also a fracture of the scapula.
Since I'm not a doctor.
Well, the scapula is that bone that children think are their angel wings, where the angel wings attach.
So we're talking that thing back over here.
Yeah, right.
All right, so this was fractured.
Yes.
All right, and then the humerus, is that this right here?
Yes, it is.
All right, that was fractured.
And you can compare that to the one on the other side and see the difference.
All right, so when you took a look at State's Exhibit 190, the video of the particular homicide, did you note anything in particular about his arm in relationship to what happened after this gunshot wound to the underarm area?
Yes, I did. In the video, after he is shot on the third shot, and from the autopsy I know that involved the brachial plexus, he developed a very distinctive injury called Erb's palsy, which is a paralysis of the left arm, and it has a very specific sign. The forearm is rotated immediately, and the hand goes up like this in what is known as the waiter's tip position, like a waiter putting his hand out for a tip. And after the third shot, you see that, and that's due to the injury to the brachial plexus, which is a large complex of nerves that extends from the spinal cord to the upper extremity and has both sensory and motor neurons.
If I may have 1 moment. All right, so when you looked at the frame by frame still images from States 190, and then these would be contained in States 315, did you note some things that confirmed your assessment of his arm? Meaning
Yes,
in those photos?
yes, that would be the porter's tip or waiter's tip posture of the left hand.
Right. So when we're looking at States Exhibit 315, number 860.
What you see in the area is the shirt is beginning to balloon out, and those are the shotgun pellets exiting the body.
States 315, number 861.
It's ballooning more.
315, number 862.
Yeah,
What's the jury looking at
there
here?
it's really ballooned out, the shirt.
State's Exhibit 315, 863. What do we have there?
Looks like there's still some ballooning of the shirt.
State's Exhibit 315, number 864.
Again, ballooning of the shirt.
And then moving forward from 864 to State's Exhibit 315, this is number 880. What is the jury looking at there?
This is the picture that displays the Erb's palsy. The left arm is straight and his wrist is flexed in the posterior position, the waiter's tip position. And that's due to the injury to the brachial plexus, to the nerves, to the arm.
So what does this mean for his ability to use that left arm?
Well, he's paralyzed now, can't use that arm.
So that's due to this gunshot wound here and the breakage of that arm?
That's correct.
So I want to go ahead and take you through your process and development of your opinion in this particular case, okay?
Okay.
All right. So February 24th, 2020, you perform your autopsy and do the things that we've seen.
Yes.
Take the photos. Did you then create a report?
Yes, I did.
In that report, did you or were you able to provide any sequence of gunshots or gunshot wounds to Mr. Arbery?
No, I was not.
At that time, did you have the video?
No, I did not.
Okay. And at that time, did you develop and put in your report any opinion about the muzzle to target distance, meaning how far the muzzle was away from Mr. Arbery's body?
No, I did not.
Okay. So that wasn't in your initial report either.
That's correct.
Now, did you eventually provide at some point in time, after your initial report, an opinion about how far you thought the muzzle was from Mr. Arbery?
I did.
How did that come about?
Well, the defense attorney scheduled a Zoom video conference with me, and that question came up during the Zoom video conference.
What did they ask you to do?
They asked me to estimate the muzzle to target distance.
And at the time, prior to having the video or the frame-by-frame still shots, what was your opinion about the muzzle to target distance?
That it was about 3 to 4 feet.
And why was that your opinion at that time?
Well, I had done some research, and there is an excellent textbook on gunshot wounds by a doctor by the name of Vincent J.M. DeMaio. And he was the chief medical examiner in San Antonio, Texas. And in there he has a diagram of shotgun wounds, and the wounds at 3 feet look very much like the wounds I saw in the body. So
when we look back at State's Exhibit number 10, what about this particular wound in his torso that related to Dr. DeMaio's book that led you to believe that based on visual on the skin, the muzzle was about 3 to 4 feet away from his body?
well, the first thing was the size. It's a large wound. It measured 1.9 by 1.5 inches. There was a scalloping on the margins. Scalloping is the fluted edge like you see on a bivalve shell. And you can see some right there, what we call scalloping.
Am I pointing to the right part?
Up a little higher.
Up a little higher
Yeah,
here?
that area, yes.
Okay. And was that depicted in this textbook?
There was a diagram of that, yes.
And so based on that diagram, you rendered your opinion?
That seemed the closest. Closer wounds were round and not very large.
So, at some point in time, did you inform the defense and the state about your opinion of the muzzle to target being 3 to 4 feet?
I did.
Okay. And moving forward, did it come to your attention that the state had requested Bryan Leopard to do a muzzle to target analysis based on the T-shirt in his field of expertise in firearms?
Yes.
Okay. And once he had rendered his opinion, what happened next?
Well, I got an email from Laura Hogue pointing out that Mr. Leopard had rendered an opinion that the gunshot wounds were contact or near contact, and asking me if I would like to take that into consideration in forming my opinion about the range of fire.
And did you decide to do that?
I did.
Okay. And given that Bryan Leopard's opinion now differed from yours, did you then look at the video and the frame by frames?
I did.
Okay. Having then looked at the video and the frame by frame, did you come up with a different opinion based on those things?
Yes.
All right. And we're talking about the torso gunshot wound. What was your revised opinion, having now seen the video, as to the muzzle to target distance for this particular gunshot wound?
20 inches to 3 inches.
So 3 inches, but as far away as 20 inches.
That's correct.
Okay. So near contact or close range?
Yes.
Now, originally when you gave your report, you weren't able to say any sequence of shots.
That's correct. Almost never can a forensic pathologist tell the sequence of shots from the examination of the body.
But in this case, we have video.
Yes.
All right. And were you also able to view some crime scene photos as well?
I was.
Going down this path where you're revising your opinion based on this evidence you've been presented, the video and the frame by frame and the crime scene photos, did you then formulate an opinion on the sequence of shots?
I did.
All right, tell us what that opinion was.
Well, it was my opinion that the shot to the center of the chest and the grazing gunshot wound to the wrist occurred at the same time, meaning that the hand was in front of the chest and was struck first, and then it entered the body. It was my opinion that the second shot was a complete miss and did not enter any part of the body, and that the third shot involved the left chest and axilla.
All right, so I just want to make sure that we've got this. We're talking about State's Exhibit 9. We're talking about this gunshot wound right here.
Yes.
All right. And then that gunshot wound and State's Exhibit 12 to the right wrist happened at the same time.
At the same time, yes.
All right. So they happened at the same time. Would that be consistent with someone pushing a shotgun away from them?
It could be, yes.
Is it also consistent with someone maybe grabbing the shotgun?
It could be, yes.
Okay. Would it be consistent with someone pushing the shotgun up?
Well, it came from the side, so.
The side?
Yes, from the thumb to the little finger side, yeah.
All right, so the shotgun wound went from the thumb to the little side.
Yes.
Okay. Sort of like this?
That well, then the shotgun would have to be tangential, you know.
You go ahead and show them what you
Well,
mean.
it could be like that, or you'd have to get it going across, and it'd also have to end in the body. This is one that could be done. Yeah, like that.
Okay. So, coming around this way.
Yes.
Okay. Not necessarily coming around this way. A little awkward?
Yes.
Okay. But it's your opinion that the hand was definitely between the muzzle of the shotgun and Mr. Arbery's torso?
Well, it had to be for the injury to occur.
Okay. Now, was this a static situation where everybody just froze, or was this a fluid situation based on your viewing of the video where everybody's moving?
Well, no, there was quite a bit of movement.
Okay. But you couldn't see actually the movement?
No, the movement was blocked by the pickup truck. The first shot occurred in front of the pickup truck, and the camera was behind the pickup truck, so the pickup truck blocked most of the interaction, although you can see the feet under the pickup truck, and every once in a while you get a picture of the shoulder moving through the windshield.
All right, so did you find additional evidence within the video and the still shots to corroborate the fact that this kind of movement and the wrist was shot at the same time the torso shot happened?
I did.
All right, so let's take a look at that. Once again, going back to State's Exhibit 315. Taking a look at State's Exhibit 315, image 645. What's the jury looking at here?
Well, you're seeing Ahmaud Arbery and the defendant struggling, and I believe you're seeing blood on the front of Ahmaud Arbery's T-shirt.
All right, so is that blood spreading due to the torso shot?
Yes.
Right. Then when we look at State's 315, 649, what is it that we've got going on, like right here?
I think that is blood coming from the wound in the wrist.
Arterial spurt?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 315, 650. What do we have again right here?
Another arterial spurt of blood coming from the wrist.
State's Exhibit 315, 654. What is the jury looking at there?
A blood spurt from the wrist.
State's Exhibit 315, number 656.
A very large blood spurt.
And when you say large blood spurt, you're talking about this?
Yes.
This is all coming from his wrist?
Yes.
Now, when we look at State's Exhibit 315, 670, what are we looking at there?
Well, a very large blood spurt coming down.
Are you sure that's not his belt with that weird, like, long
Well,
green belt thing?
His belt is in there, but the down here at the bottom and air, that appears to be a liquid. The belt has got a straight edge on it.
All right, so when we look at State's Exhibit 315, 671,
now there's the belt, and the liquid has separated in the picture.
State's 315, 672.
There, it's separated even farther and moving to the ground.
All right, so when we look at State's Exhibit 315, 671A, we're talking about separation right here?
Yes.
And then 315, 672A, that's actual separation.
Yes.
And that form it's in, what does that tell you about it?
Well, it looks like a liquid and it's falling to the ground.
And these images were taken before the second and third gunshot blast.
That is correct.
So when you looked at the crime scene photos, let me see if I can find the exact one. There we go. So when we look at State's Exhibit 51, what are we looking at there?
Well, we're looking at evidence tape surrounding the crime scene. We're looking at the body covered by a sheet. And over on the driveway, there appears to be a blood stain.
All right, and if we move this way.
And on the street, there is another blood stain.
Okay, so on the video, you don't see anybody fall down and roll around to get blood from the t-shirt onto the ground.
I do not.
All right, so what's your opinion about how these blood stains happened?
Well, I think they came from the arterial injury to the right wrist.
And so that would include in States 65.
Yes.
And then again, when we're looking in States 68.
Yes.
Over to there. Now, when we're talking about the gunshot wound to the upper arm here, do you also have an opinion about whether this was contact, near contact, or close range for this particular one, based on having seen the video?
Based on having seen the video, I think it's close range to near contact.
Because you can actually see that gunshot.
Well, you see the gun moving up. It's difficult to tell when the trigger is pulled.
So I guess let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
So just figure out timing for this witness for the morning. Let's just take a short, let's take a 10-minute recess. And that way we'll be able to get through the morning. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 10-minute recess and then continue with the testimony of the witness.
All right, sure.
Have a seat. Doctor, I remind you that you're under oath. We're going to take about a 10-minute recess. If you could just be available in 10 minutes. Just figured timing-wise, it just sort of works for the morning. We'll take a 10-minute recess. Thank you.
Just want to make the court aware, I have broken these down further if the court wants to, need to show these to the state. I know the state's in the middle of a difficult examination, but I have broken these down further.
Yeah, it can be discussed at some point. It's up to the parties.